Good morning. I hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm here with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing well. Good morning, boys.
Good morning to
Good
you.
morning to
Why
you.
you all up in my face?
I am. I like being in your face. It makes me comfortable.
Yeah, your breath is hot.
That's okay. You gotta love it though.
I love your hot
What you want me to get up and brush my teeth? I gotta be a strong black woman for you now. I
breath.
gotta do it all.
Okay, hot Cheeto breath, whatever. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Good morning to Terry Cobb and my girl Ella and Dr. R. Conrad Bingham. Good to see you. Let's do a quick sound check as we get started today. Do us a favor. Could you give us a yes in the chat if you can hear us okay? Give us a yes. And also let us know what city you're from. We like to see what city you guys are from. The Objective News Agency, B1 to you too. Kevin Johnson, B1 Chicago. Yes, B1. That means black
Shut
first.
down. Hey.
Terry, okay, thank you, Terry Cobb. Facebook user says, good morning, everyone. I see Memphis for Armenia. Natasha says yes. And Jacqueline, thank you, thank you. All right, Phoenix. Dr. Conrad Bingham's in Phoenix. Very nice. Look him up, y'all. He's in Phoenix doing doctor stuff. Montgomery, Alabama. Boynton Beach for Natasha. Khaled is in Little Rock. Remember banging in Little Rock?
No, what's banging in Little
It
Rock?
was a whole HBO special about all the Crips and Blood gangs that they had in Little Rock,
Oh,
Arkansas.
I missed it.
They covered in Snowfall. Remember Snowfall when that lady, Jerome with the Jerry curl and all the gold chains, took his girlfriend out to their cousins in Little Rock and they bought the crack out there?
But she was the one that look. She was the strong black woman that actually made that deal happen in Snowfall.
She was. She did.
She and her friend out there.
And that would be true. So
They
you know
made
what?
progress in the crack cocaine era.
Excellent point. Well, Tommy Williams has a busy day, so we can't waste Tommy and Carolyn and Steven's time. So let's go ahead and jump into our topic since we're talking about strong black women. Okay, so
I've
today's
been trying to
topic.
bring us back to it.
Yeah, you did. You did a
Uh-huh.
good job. That
Did
was so
I?
subtle.
Oh, thank you.
That was such a strong black woman move of you. Anyway, so today we are discussing the myth of the strong black woman. Today I saw something where there was some comments that were made by a man who pretty much kind of said that effectively, and he was shouting out Kevin Samuels at the time, which I know kind of makes your skin crawl a little bit, but he was basically saying that this strong black woman thing, that when we expect black women to be strong, it can sometimes make the men not as strong. Like the men don't necessarily do a whole lot because they feel like, okay, the women got this. I don't need to be there for my kid. She got this. And so I want to ask you all this. Let's start here. How many of you feel like women in your family that can be defined as strong black women? And also, if you are a strong black woman, give a yes in the chat. If you've been seen as a strong black woman, able to hold it down, able to get it all done, able to make all the money, take out the garbage, paint the
We are
house,
bringing home the
fix the
bacon
roof,
and we are frying it up in the pan.
right? Kill the rats, beat up the neighbors,
We mowing lawns.
right? Yeah,
We're cutting hedges.
yeah, right. So,
We're
okay,
fixing the plumbing.
Natasha said it's so annoying.
It is.
Okay, so let's start here then. I'm gonna start off with a confession. You ready for my confession? I got a confession.
What's your confession?
My confession is that I think I married a strong black woman. I really do.
And you admire me for it, right?
I do admire you for it.
So what happens if I'm less than? What
Less than
happens if
what?
I make a mistake and I'm not as strong? What happens when I show my weakness? What do you do when I show my weakness?
Oh, it's over then.
If I cry
I gotta
to
find.
you, if
I
I come
gotta.
to you, if I come to you and I lay my pain on you, black man, and I'm in pain and I'm in anger about something that I have justifiably need to be in pain and need to be mad at, how do you receive me when I come to you like that?
Well, I didn't sign up for all of that.
So you want me, you're putting me back into this strong black woman myth. It's a myth.
Okay, so
Where do I go to lay my burdens down?
right. So let's jump back in. Let's jump. Let's have a serious conversation.
This is very serious.
Right, it's very serious. So let me
This
say
is the
this.
dynamic
Right,
that
so
men and women go
I
through.
get it. I get it. So
Okay.
let me say this, right? Um, I have a perception, a perspective on the strong black woman thing. First of all, I don't think it's an insult to tell someone that they're strong. Like, I think stronger people are more successful. They're able to overcome things. They can fight through adversity. So I think that we need to stop sort of making it a stigma to be strong. However, the same way you can have, toxic masculinity, I think you can have a type of toxicity that can grow out of being so strong that you can't accept help from others.
Because we don't trust you, black men. We have relied on you. We have relied on you, black man, and you didn't come through for us. So then we had to like pick up our pieces, wipe the tears away, and we had to do it on our own. We had to carry it all on our own
Yeah.
because it had to be done. It needed to be done, and the person that we relied on let us down.
Well, and I don't. Well, so okay, so you're connecting it definitely back to like slavery, oppression, racism,
Yeah, all of that.
and all these things, right? And
Mhm.
I do agree with that, right? And I would say that the strong black woman myth definitely comes out of having to do things on your own that you didn't plan to have to do on your own. And and so what I've seen is where it becomes almost like a really interesting cycle.
It's a
And
vicious
let
cycle.
me explain it like this.
Hmm.
If you get to the point where you're so strong that you learn how to do everything on your own and you communicate to the world that you don't need anybody's help, then people are not going to want to help you. And I know this because I'm a strong black man. I'm intellectually strong. I'm financially strong. And you remember how hard it was when I got to a point where I actually had a great business idea and I was looking for investors. I realized I had a really hard time asking people for money. I have no problem with everybody asking me for money. I'm used to it. It happens. I complain about it, but I've loaned money to more people than I can count. But when it got to the point where I was asking others to help me, it was really hard to do. You
Yeah.
know, and so to some extent, I had fallen victim, or I'd become trapped by my own self-image. And I would say that I think the same thing can apply to the strong black woman thing. I think that if you are so strong that you let the world know how strong you are and that you don't really need them, you don't need their help, and that you got this by yourself, then when somebody comes along who can help you, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, I was gonna help you, but I don't need to help you." Like, well, let me give you an example. My uncle Charles, years ago, rest his soul. I remember one time he came to me and he wanted to give me some advice because I was like 21 years old. He wanted to give me some advice on how to make good choices or whatever. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm making straight A's and I make plenty of money. I'm doing good." He's like, "Oh, okay, you covered and you good." And he didn't give me any advice, right? Because I let him know that I got this, right? So I think that sometimes, while we can certainly put some of that on the black man in terms of us having things that we can do a little bit better, we know this. Sometimes you see cases where women will run into a strong black man who wants to help. And I really believe if you let a man know that you don't need him, then he's gonna be like, okay, cool.
See, I think that we have to understand each other better. I think that there was something about, and I know what video you're talking about. I agreed with what he said, but there was something in his voice that I just didn't like. It was like there was a frustration and an angst in his voice.
Mm,
And I think that when we start talking about the issues between black men and women, I think we need to lighten our voices a little bit. And
mm,
we need to stop having it just sounds contemptuous to me. And that never works. So I think we need to come from a place of understanding. So when you run into a woman who wants to be this strong black woman, myth, it's a myth. We really want your help, but we don't know. We're going to test you and we're going to see, are you really true? Are you going to say what you are you going to do what you say and say what you do? Are you going to mean what you say? And so we don't know because we've been let down so much. We don't know if you're going to really come through for us. So I think that what it takes is patience. I think if you come across a woman who's a strong black woman and she can do it all by herself, you need to read between the lines and see, okay, I've got to show her, I've got to show up for her, I've got to let her trust me so that she can lower her guard emotionally, physically, everything.
mm,
I mean, it's a survival mechanism. It's a great thing to be a strong black woman because that's how you um that's a survival mechanism. So you have to see it that way as a strength. But then you also have to see it as a problem that can be solved with patience and love and compassion. That's what we're looking for from you
mm.
men. I'm
Well,
speaking for all women today. If you haven't noticed.
oh Lord, oh my goodness. Okay. Well, everybody, in case you just came in, you're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, is a licensed therapist and couples counselor and a full professor of social work. My PhD is in finance, and so I like to talk about economics. So we end up talking about a lot of love and money kinds of issues, as well as just things that are fun and interesting and deep for the Black community. If that's your thing, feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. We have a lot of free resources on how to live a drama-free lifestyle, as well as you can get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. So if you'd like a free copy of my book, just go to boyceandalicia.com. Also, you can sign up for Alicia's speed dating event in Atlanta. If, in case you didn't know, she likes to matchmake and bring people together. So if you'd like to join the speed dating event in Atlanta on July 22nd at the Black House, the Legacy Center, then just go to boyceandalicia.com. There's a link there where you can sign up. All right, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Okay, so that's a great point, right? I really like that, and I've seen what you're referring to, right? You know that my theory is that when you've gone through a lot, it can take time to break away, to peel back the onion, to kind of get through the layers, that come from some of the scars, and I apologize for that, right? It makes me very sad, I know my sister, um, is a strong Black woman, and I feel like some of it came from my father not being there. The first words she said about our dad were not very positive, and I'm not going to repeat the words out of respect for her, but I asked her what was it like to live with my biological father, and she did. She said, "I remember being 4, and the first words about him at 4 that she can recall were negative words." So as a result, I think this can create a lack of trust, because the first man you love, your first boyfriend, so to speak,
Let you down.
Right?
And therefore, all men will let me down.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Here's what's interesting. I love the Black woman. I always have, and I never planned to marry any woman other than a Black woman. I wasn't even open to that. But what I have observed is that when I've run into women that were very strong and let me know they did not need me, sometimes it was like, I don't really feel like peeling back the layers of this onion. Mm-hmm. It's hard to operate in an environment where the trust is very low from the jump. That means that the margin of error is very low. So that means that if you say, hey, I'm going to bring the ice cream by at 4:00 and you forget to bring the ice cream, she's going to be like, see, that's why I don't trust Black men. Right. Like that, like the premise sort of begins with this fundamental belief that Black men cannot be trusted. So if you make a mistake,
see, I knew so. I knew I couldn't trust you.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Mm-hmm. What do you call it? Confirmation bias. All those things, right? Kick in, right? So in a way, it's an interesting paradox.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think about this, right? So I'm a Black boy, and let's say I never had a dad in the house, and I watched my mother do everything and handle all the business in the house, and she just was the boss. And then maybe because she felt guilty that my daddy wasn't there, she just kind of spoiled me. I don't know what that is, what that dynamic is, but I think mothers are better at disciplining daughters, and fathers are better at disciplining sons. I think it's hard the other way around. Like the fathers will spoil their daughters, and sometimes the mothers will spoil their sons. So the son sat there. His sisters are getting disciplined.
That's why you need both parents.
Right, mm-hmm. Right. His sisters are getting all the discipline in the world, but he's kind of being allowed to slide. He can make excuses. He's allowed to watch the women kind of do everything, carrying the groceries and all that. So he goes out in the world, and when he's dating, he's looking for a woman just like his mom. Is that a crazy theory? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. I mean, do y'all think that theory is like out of control? That if I grew up seeing my mother take care of everything, that I'm going to really start dating to look for someone who's like my mother. So that means that if we have a baby together, I'm going to go out in the street and just still be sleeping around, but you're going to take care of the baby because you got this. You're a strong Black woman. And then on Mother's Day, I'll be like, I want to say thank you to all my baby's mama.
If the relationship survives,
right?
It may not even survive.
Well,
it'll just be.
Oh, right.
It wouldn't survive.
Right. Have you ever seen those? We see it online every Mother's Day.
I'm wishing my mom a happy Father's Day.
No. On Mother's Day, well, that too. But on a lot of Mother's Day, every year on social media, I'll see somebody that'll say, I wanted to say thank you to all my baby's moms for taking good care of my kids. And it'd be like four baby mamas.
Well,
And
at
then,
least he's showing gratitude. Let's
right,
look at the
it's
positive
like
side.
thank you for taking care of
Thank you
all
for
my
doing everything.
responsibility.
I don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think that we have to take a really critical look at this because Black women are suffering. I mean, we're more likely to die of heart attacks than white women. We're more
Mm.
likely to neglect our own health, physical health and mental health, because we're taking on the burdens of everybody else in the household and outside the household. And then we
Mm.
think that Jesus can fix it. We're not going to go to therapy.
We
We're going to
know.
see Jesus can fix it.
We know a lot. Black women, African American women are the most religious group of people in America.
Yeah.
They go to like and
We
black
holding it down.
black.
We strong Black women for the church, for
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, that pastor living good off y'all's money.
So is, and we're going to pay it too.
Yeah, yeah, and then and y'all will beat it.
Because that's what we give. That's what we get. Think about when we go to church. Remember, I talked about earlier about how secure attachment comes from someone being available to you, someone being responsive, and someone being empathetic. That's what
Okay.
Black women, that's what we get in the church. We're not
Wow.
getting that from our men.
Interesting.
So
See that.
that's a secure
So
attachment
does
there.
Jesus become your boyfriend or
Jesus is my man. Jesus
wow?
will fix it because he
Jesus,
always come through.
Jesus
He
is the
don't ever
fix-it
let me
man.
down. Those
Wow.
songs come. Those songs pierce our hearts.
Wow.
Those the gospel music.
And you don't even go to
I
church.
don't even go to church, and I love that song. I love all gospel music.
Really, it's so funny.
Yes.
That's so interesting. And it's funny because I know as a man, I never wanted to go to church because I would see right through the hustle. I'd be like, okay, this ain't nothing but pimping.
Yeah.
There's a one guy sitting at the front of the church telling you that you shouldn't date nobody outside the church so he can go sleep with all the women in the front row. I got guys see right through that. Like I'm not giving that man my money. I'm not gonna sit here and let him tell me what to do. But the women love the pastor.
Yeah, because we're getting something out of it.
Mm.
We're feeling good. That can help us carry us through for the rest of the week.
Okay. Well,
Allow me to speak for all Black women today.
well, let's throw up a question here. By the way, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. You're watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. If you'd like to join the speed dating event in Atlanta on July 22nd, that Dr. Alicia's hosting at the Legacy Center, just go to boyceandalicia.com. You could also at that link get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. So feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. Hit the thumbs up button. So Dr. Bingham has a question. He says, and this is I'm gonna let you answer first, and then I'll respond. And he brings up the late Kevin Samuels, which respect to the dead, of course. It says, do women raise men that they wouldn't date? Kevin Samuels talked about that. So what do you think about that? If somebody says, a lot of these guys that are just bums and losers, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't like it. I have a real bias against Black men that don't come through. That weak men. It bothers me because weak men let me down when I was a kid, and strong men, in my life carried me, right? So what do you think about that when Dr. Bingham says
I'm trying to understand the
that a
question.
lot of the mothers will raise men that they themselves would not date? So
okay, I'm trying to understand the question.
So you're raising your son to be. Oh, I was gonna explain it to you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Explain it.
So you're raising your son to be lazy. You're raising your son to be irresponsible. You're raising your son to not be accountable.
I don't understand what that means.
And then you're throwing him out there. I mean, really? Well,
I don't understand what that means.
Like mothers that cover for their babies. You've never seen that? They make excuses for them. They go to jail. They bail them out. They get to live in their mama's basement, smoking weed and playing Xbox all day in their drawers. Their mothers don't challenge them.
Okay, I don't see that, so I'm not understanding exactly where that comes from. So when you're done with your point, I would like to speak.
No, but what he's saying is that there are women that raise soft sons, and then they throw their sons out in the world, and they end up dating women, and these men don't come through for the women. They have 8 babies, mamas, and whatever, and the mother is making excuses for him and like kind of just overlooking his behavior.
I think a mother, when they're raising children, want to love them and nurture them and protect them. Okay, they want to protect them, and so for boys in particular, think about how slavery happened. How moms would try to protect their sons in particular because it was the men that were going out and being lynched.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it is a way to protect. We want to protect our sons, not make them into whatever the Kevin Samuels statement was. We want to make sure that we are providing for them and that we're giving them, and our intention is to set them up so that they can succeed in life and that they can survive in life. And so we are doing for them as our way of showing love for them. So we can say, listen, I want you to go out there. We want you to do the best you can with your best foot forward. I'm going to work 2 jobs so that you can have a car, so that you can get back and forth to work,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can have a decent way. So we sacrifice ourselves as Black women to make sure that our children have what they need so that they can succeed. They can have what we will perceive as an upper hand so that they can have a little bit of somewhat of an advantage, if not similar to everyone else, when they succeed. We don't want them to go out there and be lacking of something and not being able to make it, to fall on our faces because of all the external pressures that are put on Black men. So we're trying to nurture them and love them the best way that we can. Granted that we don't have their father that's showing up the way they're supposed to show up. And it's unfortunate that sometimes we take out our anger and aggression out on them sometimes, but it's coming from a place of love. So I'm real confused, still confused. Maybe I need to start thinking about it a little more. But I think that just the entire phrasing of Kevin Samuels and that way of thinking, I don't see that being very understanding.
Okay, and I can hear that, right? And here's what I would say to Dr. Bingham's comment, and with due respect to Kevin and what the good things that he was able
Listen,
to
let's
listen.
separate Kevin Samuels as a man.
Hmm.
Okay, rest in peace and all of that. Let's now talk about the ideas.
Right.
Okay.
So let me respond on that.
Hmm.
The reason I don't agree with what Dr. Bingham said, this was my concern about the whole Kevin Samuels movement, is that you can't put all that on women. You remember, the woman did not make that baby by herself. Do we all agree on that? Can we at least agree on the idea that women eh, don't have babies without someone who owns a penis injecting seed into their bodies and creating that child? Can we agree on that? Yes or no? Basic biology. Give me a yes in the chat if we can agree on that basic premise. So when you look at a guy, you look at a kid, a young man, and you see that he wasn't disciplined, as a kid. I know some of these weak guys. I've seen them. I've seen these weak men don't take responsibility for nothing, just out here causing chaos throughout the world. I Yes, absolutely. That he was made soft by somebody. And from my experience, traditionally speaking, the mother tends to be the nurturer. His father
Has to put
was
pressure.
responsible for
Yeah.
giving him the discipline. His father, don't get me wrong, mothers can discipline sons too. My mother disciplined me too, but my mother wasn't more of a nurturer. My father was the disciplinarian. My father taught me to be a man. My father taught me to stand up. My father taught me to follow through. So when you see a broken, weak ass bootleg, you know, fake pretend to be man out here, you know, don't just say, well, mom, why didn't you raise him like a soldier? Because that's not what mothers tend to do. Mothers don't the mama will bake you cookies and give you hugs, faster than she'll take you out and make you go climb a mountain and shovel dirt in the backyard and take out the trash. So it doesn't mean mothers can't play some role in that discipline piece, but that was my big concern about just a lot of what I heard when I did check out, some of the stuff Kevin did, because I'm not gonna say it was all bad. It wasn't. But sometimes I'll be like, why are we acting like Black women are that they're the only ones who played a role in the creation of the mess that's in front of us?
And then we hear statements like that from Kevin Samuels and others. And then we internalize that and we think there's something inherently wrong with us. And it is the wrong thing to do, which in turn makes us want to become perfectionists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me tell you what happened last week. I was doing something at work at my main job, my full-time job. And I had to fill out this form and I had to send it out, like this form, but I made a mistake and I filled out the wrong form.
Oh no.
Okay, I sent this wrong form out, and then it was brought to my attention and I had to hurry up and scurry and feel, because it's all these forms, and when you work for like bureaucracies and universities, it's not like they know what the plan is, but you have to have like this documentation, this paper trail or whatever. You know how how it goes. So I filled out the wrong form, and internally I felt like, oh my God, this university is gonna think I'm a total fuck up, basically, because I did the wrong form. Why wasn't I paying attention? And I was really hard on myself. And I was like, look, you don't even get paid to work in the summer. This is like something that you needed to do. It's okay if I make a mistake, but because I have been held to such high standards, every time I make a mistake, I'm treated like I am a mistake. I'm taking on a lot of this burden of wanting to be perfect and do everything right. And if I had paid attention, and I'm on myself, this is what we do as Black women. We make mistakes. We're hard on ourselves. We need to have self-compassion. And I had to remind myself in the moment, Alicia, it's the summertime. You're really working on some of these other things you want to get forward. You've accomplished so much this summer. I had to force myself to look at all the things that I've accomplished because I was really kind of annoyed that I made a mistake. And I think that when we are at work, Black women, there's so much on us as Black women. We make one little mistake and it's just like, all the world comes crashing down on you. So we're held at such a high level.
Okay.
High standard, a standard that none of us can ever reach, a standard that's different from everybody else that you work with, and so it's like, it's very difficult for us. We're carrying that burden with us.
Interesting. Wow. Well, you know what, guys, what in case you just came in, we are talking about the pain of being the strong Black woman and the consequences on family, the consequences on economics, things like that. If you're enjoying this conversation, please make sure you subscribe to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, if you haven't done that yet. And also, if you go to boyceandalicia.com, you can get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking. And also, Alicia is hosting a speed dating event. So if you're single and you live near Atlanta, it's going to be on Sunday and
Friday.
Friday. I'm sorry. Did I say Sunday?
Yeah,
I meant to say Friday. I'm sorry. July
22nd.
Friday, July 22nd.
7 p.m.
Yeah, 7 p.m. And you got to register in advance. You can't just, show up at the door. You got to register in advance. So go to boyceandalicia.com. You can get information there. All right. So let me jump into kind of the what I see in my view, my humble view of kind of the economic consequences of like the myth of the strong Black woman. I'll start by talking about my grandmother Felicia, who I admire so much because she was the epitome of the strong Black woman. My grandmother was so strong that I remember finding out 20 years later that in the 80s she was getting chemo and would go get chemo in the morning and then go to work in the afternoon and not tell anybody she was even getting chemo.
Yeah.
And she raised 5 kids by herself, never made more than $22,000 a year. When she died, she had perfect credit, plenty of money in the bank. Just everything in order. Her whole estate plan was in order. Just had her stuff together. I remember people in our family that made 4 times more money than her that would go to her to borrow money because she saved. She protected her resources. She was just super smart that way. And the thing about it though is that that's not always the case.
That's not healthy.
Right.
It's not healthy.
Well, single black mothers actually have the lowest net worth in America.
Yeah.
Because it's just so difficult. And and I think that pressure to kind of have to sort of take on this stereotype of being the strong Black woman, it can cause friction, I think, in families. I can just tell you, I believe firmly that if you let a man know you don't need him, you're reducing the chances he's going to stay with you. I think because commitment requires like a sense of obligation for the man. Like, I don't know about women. I can't speak on all women, but I can speak on, I know a lot of male friends who are certainly looking for love. They want to be loved and things like that, but they're not necessarily, walking around saying, I can't wait to be in a committed relationship, because it comes with a lot of work. There's financial responsibilities, a lot of stuff that comes with it. So, I remember when I was like 30 or 29 and I was dating a strong Black woman who basically let me know she didn't need me. She wasn't being mean.
Did she mean it though?
No, she didn't.
She didn't mean
She
it.
did not
And
mean
so
it.
I think that
But wait,
men
let me finish my
need to
story.
read
Hold on.
between the
Hold on, strong
lines.
black woman. Let me finish my part, and then you can finish yours. Okay? I'm messing with you. So she was basically letting me know she didn't need me. And what she didn't understand was I was kind of getting bored in that relationship. I'd met, a nice lady, but the only thing stopping me from pursuing that was that I'd made a commitment. And so I said, I think I remember I said something to her like, I said, so, you seem to love me, but you don't really seem like you really need me. And she was kind of like, well, I don't need nothing. I don't need nobody, right? And I was like, so you're saying that if I left, you'd be okay? Because remember, the guilt, part of the guilt was what was keeping me there. Like she needs me. I can't walk off and hurt this person's feelings. And she's like, you ain't gonna get no drama out of me. You ain't gonna get no drama out of me. I'll be fine. And so I believed her. I mean, maybe that was wrong, right? But my rule had always been that when somebody says something, you believe them. Like no means no. Like if a woman says no, I don't want to date you, I always take it like no. I didn't want to be the guy who says no. She said no, but she really meant yes. Next thing you know, you get hit up with sexual harassment charges and sexual misconduct. So no. If you told me no, that meant no to me. If you wanted, if the answer was really yes, you would have said yes. So when she said she didn't need me, I was like, okay, well, I really don't know if I want to be in a relationship anymore. And she acted like it didn't bother her. And I know that it did. 20 years later, I know that it did. But in my mind, I'm kind of like, I know my reaction. I'm just being honest here. Honestly, the fact that she let me know she did not need me is the only thing that made me feel like, okay, so you're giving me permission to go. I'm gonna go out and have fun. I'll catch you later.
So your reasoning for breaking up with somebody is rested on their response to one question. I think
No,
like maybe
I mean it was a combination, and
it
I wouldn't do that with
probably,
you.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like it was, that wasn't the most, I think we need to be
I
mature in
was
how we,
young. I was
I know
20.
you were
I was
young. I know
29.
you were young, but I think this is a good illustration about how we need to really be mature with each other. And I think maybe there was some trust issues in there to begin with. Maybe we don't have her here, so maybe she was frustrated with a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she didn't feel comfortable enough around you. Maybe it just wasn't, the safety wasn't created there where she felt like she could let her guard down, because part of it is letting your guard down. Nothing is worse than confessing your love for somebody and then they're like, I don't
Yeah.
really feel the same way. And so if you had found someone better, maybe on some level she kind of picked up on that, and her feelings were hurt. It's never good to be dumped.
Yeah.
And so I think like how we react to each other needs to be a little better. She was had a little ego probably.
Yeah.
It was just, and kept it together, but
Ego means he go.
he go
Yeah,
when you
he
got an
go.
ego.
Ego means that he go. You keep that ego. I mean, since all that fronting, like
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I don't need you and all that. I get it. I totally get it. Right. In hindsight, there were times where I took a woman's word literally, and maybe, and in hindsight, I'm like, okay, she didn't really mean it. I was being tested or whatever. But the problem is that you got to be careful about testing men like that, because you're playing a dangerous game for the man.
okay, so we're
Because
getting off into this.
no,
This
but
is
let me explain though. Like
Mhm.
I had there was literally another time where when I was in graduate school, there was a lady I thought about dating her, and I said, "Hey, would you like to date a little bit and whatever?" And she said no. I said, "Okay, no problem." And then 2 weeks later, her friend says, "Well, why don't you try to date so and so?" And I said, "Because I asked her." She said no, and she said, "Oh no. She really was going to say yes. She was just testing you." And the reason that those tests are not cool, I know, I get it. I understand. Sometimes women say no and they're really testing it. And it makes sense from a traditional standpoint. But in the modern era that we live in, when a woman says no, and you say, "Oh no, she didn't mean no. She just wanted me to keep asking her. She really meant yes. I just got to keep on pushing." Hell no, because you don't know. You might be pushing on a door that ain't supposed to open, and next thing you know, you get accused of being some sort of predator. Men have to watch out for that. So I just tell men, like, look, a grown ass woman's gonna tell you what she wants. If she can't tell you what she wants and you're dealing with a little girl, I would not. I don't believe in playing those games.
All of us have this little child, this hurt child inside of us, boys. You have, on some level, based on some of the things I've heard you say, you have a little hurt
Oh,
boy.
we all do.
You
We
have
all
a
do.
little hurt boy inside of you. All of us have a hurt child of being rejected. Rejection is the worst feeling ever in the world, I think. Just
Mm,
to be rejected. It's just like you are reduced down to nothing.
hmm.
The feeling of rejection. And so the pain of being rejected, and that's never a good thing to feel. So I think that a lot of us are speaking from that hurt person. And so again, when I talk about compassion, I really think that you just have to have a better conversation with people and
Mm,
don't ask them specifically. I mean, I think it would have gone over better if you had sat down with this lady and said, let's talk about our relationship. How are you feeling in this relationship? Where is this going? That would have been a more mature conversation than the conversation you had. So if you said, where do you think this is going? How do you see both of us in the future? Am I someone that you want? Do you have any issues with me? How can I make this relationship better? You can
mm,
even be honest and say, you know what? I went to a conference and I met a bunch of lovely ladies who are interested in me. I'm not going to pursue any of them because I'm with you now. What can we do to make our communicate with each other to make our relationship better? And that type, if you had come to her in that sort of way, she would have been more comfortable, I'm thinking, to be able to open up to you a little more and say, you know what, Boyce, I really love you. I really enjoy spending time with you. Whatever she would have said. Or she could have said, I don't see this going anywhere. Maybe we should talk about, I think there's a nice, peaceful, easy way to end relationships where you're not stabbing someone and sticking them. I
mm,
think that we end relationships in a way where it's just so damaging. And then I got to carry that with me now. The pain of this man that doesn't like me, who was ready to dump me like a hot potato for whatever reason. I have to carry this around with me. And this is what I'm talking about when I say how we relate to each other and how we, talk to each other and approach each other needs to be way more graceful and peaceful. We need to approach each other like we love ourselves. There's
mm.
so much self-hatred, and I think that was the issue with the entire energy of the Kevin Samuels, and there's some others out there. That whole entire thing, it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of any sort of compassion and understanding, and you'll never get anywhere. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy for those Kevin Samuels likes.
Okay. Well, by the way, you watching Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. This is where my wife and I lay together on our pillows and have conversations about things going on in the Black community, and we try to keep it Black and intelligent and fun. If this is your thing, then feel free to go check out what Alicia does. She's a licensed therapist, life coach, and a full professor of social work. So if you would like to learn more about what she does with couples, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. Also, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Okay, so I'm gonna pop up this comment. This brother made a donation, so I'm if you're giving money, then I gotta acknowledge your comment, as long as you ain't saying nothing crazy. All right, let's see. Those who say I'm strong and independent and don't need a man are the ones who are guaranteed to, at worst, be alone forever, or they'll end up with a femme man who they don't respect, as she'll be the dude. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I see that happen all the time. I see, now I most quality women I know that I've met, um, they don't deliberately take on the strong Black woman image, and they don't run around saying we don't need men, right? I think that they've kind of learned how to look at the nuances of feminism and everything else to kind of say, men are important, men matter, right? But I'm still going to be okay. Like, I'm not going to be overly codependent and just some weak little soul who's going to crumble if the man's not there. But I do think that when you are, I believe in masculine and feminine roles, and one thing I have observed is that we've created this interesting cycle where you maybe have that guy who was raised by that strong single mom, and we tend to date women or men who remind us of our parents. So you can imagine men. I have the name we like to use is the hobosexual. The hobosexual who looks at the woman as the breadwinner. He looks at the woman as the leader. He looks at the woman as almost like the man of the house. And his job is to just sort of, hang around, maybe be the sperm donor, and that's it.
These women in this type of scenario are miserable, by the way.
Yeah.
They really don't like to take on everything, and they really wish that they had a husband that would step up a little more. And they're constantly testing. And so again, this is where these conversations need to happen. Why am I doing everything? I'm going to work like you. We need to think about how we're going to at least get help in the house. We need to share these responsibilities, housing, child rearing responsibilities. We need to share that. We need to have a conversation about. So they're miserable. And if you look at your husband like he's a weak man, then he'll always be a weak man. So you have to look at them with, okay, we need to have this conversation. He can do it. We can do it. We can share the load and not have to do it all on our own. Because Black women are tired. They go into bed and they sleep before their head hits the pillow. So then that makes me wonder, like, what type of intimacy is happening between these couples? Not very much. They're too tired to even focus on each other.
Well, you know what I would say is that, I when a real man shows up, like a real strong quality man who understands or who has an image in his mind of his role as the masculine creature in the relationship, I think that even though we know that it's on the man to really show up as men, I'm a believer in that. Women also have to understand what a real man looks like and know that there can't be two men in that relationship. Even in gay relationships, they have a masculine and feminine role. Brittany Griner is the dude in her house. Let's keep it 100. Brittany Griner, she eats the big piece of chicken. She's the one that's going to carry the luggage. She's the one that's going to fix the roof, right? So I know it, but it's true. It's true. So I would say that one of the things that you have to be cautious about is, if a man's trying to be a man, let him be a man. If you're constantly like pushing him to the side and trying to like take control of everything, maybe because you have a hard time giving up control, giving up that power, then what you have in your relationship is a power struggle. And I don't know about everybody else, but when I feel like I'm in like a power struggle, I'm either going to dominate the power struggle by making sure that I'm more masculine than the dude I'm competing with, or I'm just going to walk away and say, you know what, this is going to lead to conflict. I'm not trying to do this. But I'm not really going to be thinking like I want to really nurture this person who's competing with me. If you're competing with me, I'm not thinking about nurturing with you. I'm thinking about dealing with you.
But that's the thing, is that we all have to switch our brains to say, let's nurture each other. We all have to switch our brains and step out of that. We have to recognize it. And I think before you move on and walk on, because you've invested so much in a relationship. I'm not talking about our relationship. I'm talking about a relationship.
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about me and you, though. I'm just talking about you have to be able to nurture things. You have to be able to have an understanding of it. You have to read up on the strong Black woman and where it comes from. Started way back in slavery. There's a whole history on it. Read up on it and change the way you see your spouse. Change the way you see your wife. Change the way you see the other person and say, okay, I'm now getting a total understanding of it. Coming to the situation with an attitude of understanding and compassion will solve the problem. It's sitting down with them, just like I illustrated with that one lady in graduate school. Sitting down with them and having explicit conversation. I'm not saying the conversation needs to end in the two of you being together, but even if you say, okay, at the end of this conversation, goodbye to you. Thank you for this experience. I am now going to move on. There's still a way to do that where you can come with a place of compassion. Instead of saying, well, then forget it. If she wants to do everything around the house, then let her do everything around the house. Fine. I'll just go in the basement and watch movies, while she is upstairs cooking and cleaning and putting the kids to bed all by herself.
Right. So let me interrupt and point out something real quick, guys. There is a fake Boyce Watkins that is in my chat, and he's literally messaging people and saying, hit me up in your inbox. So I just want to warn everybody, these people that you got these
they're vicious.
Yeah, you got these scammers out here, and there's like literally like 5 or 10 fake Boyce Watkins Instagram pages out here, stuff like that. Here,
5 or 10 boys?
that, yeah,
There's got to be more than
maybe
that.
10 or 20, I don't know. But there's another message from this dork. So if you see this person, could you please report the person, and also please be careful, because I don't want you to lose money. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, hit me up in my WhatsApp. It's probably somebody in, Ukraine or something, or Nigeria or anywhere else. I'm not going to say Nigeria because I'm part Nigerian. I would hate to believe that my own people would do this to me.
Let's just say Russia. How about we blame
how
it all
about
on Russia?
Blame it on Russia. There we go.
Russia did it.
That's right. But either way, I just want to warn you guys, and I'm going to start warning you a little more often just to make sure nobody gets caught with that. And I apologize for that. I can't stop it. It's all over the place. But so I agree with you, right? I think that what you're leaning toward, where I'm going to take the ball and run in this direction, is really, I would argue that relationships are just complicated. I believe they're more complicated now than they were 50 years ago. And I think that what I found is that you benefit from having like that outside help, like that referee, which might be your therapist or something, to help you figure out, okay, how's this going to work? And what are the roles going to be? How are you going to communicate properly? Because look, here's the deal. Somebody made a comment about Kevin Samuels. I'm gonna put this up here again. I can't, if I can find it. But basically what he was saying was that he said, and I don't agree with this comment completely, but I think it's worth hearing. He basically said that Kevin Samuels was a guy. Here we go. He said Kevin Samuels was helping Black women see the view from a Black man's perspective. I think women should applaud that idea, but instead tear him down, and the rest join in to gang up on him. It's bad. Now, here's why I disagree with your comment, but I'm also explaining why your comment should be heard. I disagree with the comment because I think that it could have been done nicer. If you go look at the last 10 thumbnails on Kevin's channel before his unfortunate passing, you'll notice that every single one of those thumbnails had a Black woman on it, and it was not a flattering image. It was like an attack on Black women. Black women think she's the prize. Black women over 35 are leftovers. Black women, da da da. Or and that's a problem. That's not cool.
There's no solution to those type of thumbnails and that type of dialogue.
Right. And so if you're bringing up your point, I believe you can love the Black woman and also be a man at the same time. Like, so men should be heard. And I don't believe that we hear men enough. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of guys who would watch Kevin's channel because they said, man, nobody's listening to us. Everybody's attacking us. Everybody thinks that we're just R. Kelly's in the making and just kind of being mean, and there, and I said, yeah, but you can make your point without feeling like you have to tear down Black women in the process. Just say, look, I'm a man. I love you. I respect you. I honor you. I uphold you. But you're not going to build nothing off of degrading who I am. Like I feel disrespected. I don't feel heard. I don't feel treated properly. And I think men should say that. And I think men can say that and declare their manhood without it becoming like, look at all these women. It's the women's fault. Even when a Black man is weak because his mama didn't raise him right.
There's no accountability. It's just all falls on Black women. And and that's what I'm saying. The women who listen to that and to hear all of that and to agree with that perspective, they're also contributing to the strong Black woman.
Yeah.
They're contributing to it. That everything rests on our shoulders, that we're responsible for any and everything, and we can't share that responsibility with anyone. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, like these women are out of control.
These women are holding it down.
They setting their standards too high. Like, never mind the fact that maybe you're just not reaching the standard. It's like they're setting their standards too high. It just got to be a silly conversation because I've seen this. Because Derek Jackson was doing that, except doing it for women. He was telling women in every other video that nothing is ever your fault. That literally the reason he didn't commit to you is because he's weak and he's scared and these men are weak and they don't want accountability. Shut up. I mean, don't disrespect it. I don't want to say it like that. But I read that and I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're pandering. I get it. You're pandering. That's why you got all these women on your channel saying, he's telling it like it is. No, he's not. He's telling you like you want to hear it. And the reason you're miserable in your life is because you don't want to face reality. You don't want to realize that maybe the reason your stuff ain't working out is because you're messing up. You're making bad choices.
It's no, Boyce, we have to deconstruct all of that. It's
Okay.
not just one person making bad choices. People do the best that they can in their situations. That's what I'm trying to say. It's when I'm interacting with you and I'm like, why would you do something like that? What's going on? I'm trying to have an understanding about why you're doing that. Not sit there and say he just did that, he's stupid, he need to move on.
That's true.
So we need to stop that. We need to stop. It can't just rest on just one person.
Well, as Kevin Cosby in Louisville, Kentucky says, before you correct, you must connect. Like, right. So before I correct you, I need to understand you, right? And maybe that's what's missing, right? That's what's missing when you criticize Black men and don't try to understand why we do what we do, or you criticize Black women and don't try to understand why they do what they do. Like, I really encourage all men who are frustrated with the behavior of Black women to really try to understand. Like, put yourself in their shoes. Like, imagine
It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
That's what people are supposed to do. It's an appropriate response to having a man not show up for you. It's appropriate.
Well, it's a response. Is it appropriate? I don't know.
It's an appropriate response to those conditions. Now, when you come in contact with a man who is accountable, it's not an appropriate response. So it's given that sort of thing an understanding. And I have seen women soften. When a woman starts dating a man who is accountable, who's a real man in that sense, they soften. How could they not soften? They do soften. They heal from that. And the trust goes both ways, because a lot of men, like a Kevin Samuels, they act like they don't trust women at all. They have trust issues when it comes to women.
Wasn't he divorced a couple of times? And the lady he was with, was that a hooker? Like, if you
we
like,
don't know.
If you're alone in an apartment with a woman you just met, I mean, what was really going on? And you died. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
But even a Kevin Samuels, deep down inside, he wants to be seen. He wants to be heard. He wants to be loved.
Everybody wants to be loved.
He wants to. And I think it would have been better if he had built his channel on just that premise. If he had been honest with himself, he said, you know what? Sometimes I'm hurt by women, but I really want to be loved by a woman. If he had just built his channel on that, I think we'd be so far progressive in our relationship with each other.
Well, you know what I think? I would say you have to understand balance. It all comes down to balance, right? Like, I can empathize all day with what you went through, but there's a point where you got to take the ball and take accountability.
Right.
But there's a point where, like, if you go to any penitentiary that's full of rapists and murderers or whatever, and ask them, how did you grow up? They literally will tell you terrible stories about things that happened to him. R. Kelly went through hell.
And I'm very happy because R. Kelly is getting his sentence reduced.
Right.
Because they're starting to.
But let's just be clear, though. He did a lot of terrible things. Yes. And a lot of that, I believe, was driven by his choices. When he was famous and had all the money, and I don't think he would have listened to somebody who tried to help him. I think that he felt that he could feed the demon and not be held accountable and not ever, have a consequence for his choices. And so, in my mind, as much as I can certainly turn to, okay, I do things this way because this is what happened to me when I was a kid or whatever. The fact that I can even acknowledge that means that I also can acknowledge my own personal power in making my own choices.
But there are some unseen. There's some unknown about you. There is, you may not understand that you may not be able to make the connection between how your current behavior relates to the things that have happened to you in your past. Some people don't have that level of insight in their behavior.
Yeah. Well, I would just generally say, anytime you're getting advice from anyone, whether you talk about the Kevin Samuels type stuff or the Derek Jackson type stuff, anybody who gives you advice and doesn't hold you accountable is not helping you. If they literally create an enemy and make you feel that most of your problems are due to the inadequacies of your adversary, that's just not helping you. That's just giving you a scapegoat.
Yeah, that's why I say it has to be deconstructed, because some of the problem is you, some of the problem is not. We can't say it's just one or the other. So you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, Kay Stewart thinks Kevin Samuels' message was intentionally sabotaged.
It,
I don't. Well, I
it
don't doubt
wasn't
that.
sabotage.
I can see that happening though. But here's the thing. I think that's where he should have been a little more careful about the sound bites, because the sound bites are what made him famous, but the sound bites are also what made him vilified, right? Because he told that lady she was going to die alone. Did you really have to say that? Maybe you could say, look, you know, you may want to consider another point of view. But when you say "fuck you," you're gonna die alone, or these broads, they get on my nerves, you know, whatever. Well, then people are gonna grab that, you know, and you know, so, or if you say 35 women over 35 are leftovers, well, that's bullshit. That's just not true. There are
Yeah.
gorgeous women that are 35, 45, 55 and beyond.
Yeah. So
So let's stop that.
to
Like,
make categorical statements about an entire group of people, you lose me there anyway.
and that's a terrible thing to say. I mean,
Yeah, it's
you know,
not even true.
that mean, right? Yeah, and then I would really hope nobody over 35 would ever believe something stupid like that's a crazy remark. And you're 57 years old. Like, you're old already. Like, you're literally picking an age that's 22 years younger than the age you are right now, and you're saying anybody over that age that's a woman is a leftover. But no, I'm not. I'm not. You know, and I really just kind of think, um, it's cartoonish in a way, because you know, here's the thing though, the reality is that things do change as you get older, right? So if you're a woman that's in your 20s and you got all these men to choose from, but you don't want to commit because you think you're going to be young and gorgeous forever, that's just not true. You should probably think about some of those things, even if it's not politically correct to do so. But that doesn't mean your life is over when you hit a certain age. We know that's not true. But the same thing is true with men. And this is where I would actually say that I would say this directly to Kevin. You know, if I was talking to him directly, is I would say, look, you're 57. You know, you can't run around with women you met 24 hours ago at 57 years old without knowing, like, your old ass might just drop dead from a heart attack, and you don't want to be laying next to some lady who doesn't know you. You know, you need a woman that really loves you. It might not be a wife, but you need a woman that you committed to, where you've had her back financially and otherwise, so that she's gonna come visit your old ass if you sitting up in the hospital with a stent in your heart, or you on the damn, was it the stroke ward, like that lady did that video. You in the stroke ward and you need somebody to wipe your ass. That's the question I would ask most men over 50 is, what woman do you know who will wipe your ass? If you can't think of any, then you're in trouble, dude.
Then you made some mistakes in your life.
Right.
You have made some mistakes.
Right. You gotta build relationships. You can't just chase easy vagina.
But then when he's coming from a place where he thinks he's just better than everybody, if you come and you're looking down on everybody, nobody wants to be around you.
Well, you know, that part is, I think, a personal statement, and I get it. I mean,
he's looking down on people.
Yeah, but I actually resonated with kind of the more direct approach to things. Like, I that direct language that Kevin used, I actually get that, because that's what you get from a football coach or from a dad, and I like that. I like masculine. I respect, you know, like, a masculine leadership is needed in the Black community. We don't have enough of that, so I think that the masculinity of the message was very traumatized. It was shocking for people, almost like when I worked with Ice Cube on the political stuff. People were not used to masculine negotiation coming from the Black community. They were used to us buckling and praying and hoping that the Democrats are going to be nice to us and telling each other to vote even for no reason. Ice Cube said, no, I'm negotiating with you. And I respected him for that. So to that extent, that was the part, you know, of Kevin's message that I thought was cool.
But you don't need to talk to, like, if you came to me and you talked to me that way, I wouldn't have wanted to marry you.
Right.
You were very kind and gentle to me.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not supposed to talk to you.
Yeah, don't talk to me like that.
Right.
So I think that was the problem with his, you know, with what he was doing, how he was talking to women. That wasn't.
Remember those women volunteered to go on the show though. I thought for whatever reason those were, you know, and I think that it's maybe because they were used to getting like that.
They're accustomed to that kind of thing.
Well, they were used to their uncles or their dad or whatever, and I can understand that, but I think that that's the type of trust that they're giving you, that you have to honor that, and you can't just say, because you don't agree with me, you're gonna die alone, or, you know, you're over 35, you're a leftover. Like, who would want?
He didn't do a good job, and I have listened as much as I could listen to some of his videos. He didn't do a good job listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
He did not listen to them. He cut them off a lot. He would ask them a question, and then as soon as they started to answer the question, he would just cut them off and go on some tirade. He was constantly triggered by the things that they were saying.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
a
He
very
definitely
damaging.
he
He was
definitely
very
he
damaging.
definitely could have used some therapy, because you could tell when he would just get really mad and frustrated. It was like, wow, like she really said something that really triggered you, which means that you've connected it to something that has happened in your past, or a
Hmm.
frustration that you already had. I mean, I'm not that you're the therapist, not me.
No, I mean, it doesn't take a therapist to see that. You don't have to have
Mm-hmm.
a 20 years of experience, a clinical experience like I have to be able to see that.
We,
It's clear.
we know who was really good was that one brother that was on that show on Vice, that the therapist that you really liked, who would literally sit
I
down and
love
talk.
him.
He would
Yeah.
sit down and talk to like a crazy rapper, like Chief Keef,
Yes.
and would just listen to them and talk through their experiences and have these breakthroughs and insights. And I was so impressed with this brother because of his patience. What is his name?
You know what? We don't know his name because
We
it
gotta
is a
look him up.
very long name.
Okay.
It was called, what was it called? The Therapist, right?
I think,
On
yeah.
Vice TV.
Hmm.
And it was an Indian name he had. But that is a sense of masculinity that is healing.
Yeah.
He needs to have his own show. He needs to have more
But
of a show.
I will admit I learned a lot from watching him,
Yeah.
because he sat down with some people, like he sat down with Young M.A. and some other
His name
artists.
was Sing something.
Yeah, and I
I don't
like
know.
that. I was like, okay, because that's the thing, and I really think everybody, I hope you'll hear this, is that if you're really trying to correct something or help somebody, listening is a really important skill to have. And I have to even continue to get better at listening. I'm not the best listener all the time. Sometimes I want to hear myself talk. But I would say, if you get that urge to cut people off, you don't have to do that. If you let them get it out, and let them know that you understand what they're saying, then they're going to be more likely to hear you than you just getting mad and cussing them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The compassion piece.
Yeah, I think that does work. But anyway, by the way, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Oh, there's his name. Antoine put it in here.
Oh, they have his name. It's a
Yeah.
long name, right?
Yeah, but we should put his name up here because his brother was good. Dr. Siri Sat Nam Singh.
Sing. I knew it was something Sing. Yeah,
Wow.
he was
Yeah,
excellent.
look him up. Look him up and look up his show. Because this was a brother that really did a great job
Oh, it was beautiful.
of connecting. I would watch the transformation and be like astonished. And so anyway, by the way, you listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I lay against my pillow with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and we talk about all kinds of interesting things in the Black community. Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and also a life coach. So if you'd like to learn more about what she does, you can visit coachingwithdralicia.com. And also, don't forget, in Atlanta on July 22nd, she's hosting a speed dating event. If you'd like to meet some people and mingle and everything else, then feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. You can register. You have to register in advance. It's July 22nd at the Black House, aka the Legacy Center in Atlanta. So boyceandalicia.com is where you can go for that. All right, so Sing is Indonesia for Smith. Okay, that's funny. Yeah, so I guess we can, as far as like my final thought
Okay.
on a lot of this, let's go back to the strong Black woman thing. I think that we should all try to understand, where this comes from, right? Why Black women are forced through slavery, oppression, racism, sexism to become these strong Black people. And I respect that. But also, I think that part of your strength needs to be having that ability to do enough self-reflection so that you can evolve and adjust to the world around you. To know that being strong ain't always the right answer for every situation. That there's some situations where, being a little more open and vulnerable, or at least understanding when you're in the presence of a strong man that you want to keep around, that there's a way to talk to men. You got to talk to men and deal with men in a certain way to make them feel appreciated. And if you don't, then it's okay. It's just that man may not want to be around you. And so the question you got to ask yourself is, can you be strong in connection and conjunction with another person? Because I think that if you can tame that strength and calibrate it and use it in a way that's beneficial to you, then you can be stronger together. You're always stronger together than you are doing it by yourself. Doing it by yourself does not work. And when
Mhm.
you and you can't have a size fits all approach to life. And I think that's really important to kind of know. So yeah, if you're dealing with the weak Negroes, the broken men, the hobosexuals, as we call them, that just want to mooch off people, then yeah, you got to be strong. You walk away from that. But when you deal with a man that, that doesn't fit that category, don't run up in there competing with him and knocking him out of the way and not trusting him and not supporting him, because I don't know about other men, but that wouldn't be appealing to me.
Yeah, but I think when women, when they come off as the fact that they don't trust you and there's no reason for it, talk to them. Say, "Wow, I didn't give you any reason not to trust me, but you didn't. What happened for you right in that moment?" And
Hmm.
I mean, I really do think it's a teachable moment. Let me tell you about my past. Let me tell you what I've been through.
Hmm.
Oh God, okay, I totally get that. Let me tell you what I need from you now that you've heard my story. You
Hmm.
have to be there. And I think like we make these phrases like black don't crack, it's almost like it refers to like our skin,
Hmm.
because, we look a lot younger than other people, but it's also like we are not going to crack. There's nothing in us that's going to crack. And even like phrases like black girl magic. Like, why I have to be magical? Why are you putting that on me to be magical? I mean, it's like all of these phrases geared toward women that we're some super extraordinary people because we've had to do super extraordinary things in conditions that we never should have been in the first place.
That's a good point. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have to admit though, I kind of think it's cool that black women are so capable. I do. I love black girl magic. I love watching black women
I'm not your
dominate.
superwoman.
Right. Well, that's the thing. But here's the thing: you are a superwoman. You are a strong woman.
uh,
And what I do, my approach with you is, as the strong black woman that you are, is I just I choose the role that I want to take in supporting that. I back you up. It's like, okay, if you choose to be strong in that moment, that's like cool. I'm gonna let her do her thing, but I'm always there in case she needs me. And then sometimes when I see you getting overworked or overheated, I say, okay, sit down. I got this.
Yeah, I am run down.
Yeah,
Sometimes I can be run down. I could lose my patience with the kids, especially when I'm run down.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
been a long week and they've been testing me. They've been testing me, boys.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's tough.
I don't think that black women being strong is a curse. I think it's more like, it's like anything else. If you overdose, then it becomes a problem. It becomes toxic. It becomes unhealthy. But a healthy amount of strength is good for, I think, life. It's good for a relationship. I never wanted to marry a woman who was like a weak little powder puff who would just crumble under any type of pressure. Because shit, being black is hard. I need to know that you're gonna be ready to go to battle with me. I need to know that you're gonna be ready for the
It's
pressures that come. Being
Wakanda forever, boys. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be got my sword.
being married to me is hard. You know, I mean, think about look at what happened when we got married, and I put the proposal video online. 1 million people watched the video. A lot of people said good things, but then there was a strand of people that were really just, very nasty. They were nasty toward me and you. They called me a simp for loving a black woman, which makes them absolute pieces of shit in my book. But then also, they were talking about you, and you just handled it like a vet. You didn't crumble. You didn't say, "Oh my god." You just kind of laughed it off. Like I said, okay, cool. I married a sturdy woman, and that's what I wanted. I know sturdy sounds like
Sturdy, you
sounds like
sound
a
like
horse. Like I just bought a good
I'm a
horse.
hoss.
Yeah, yeah. No, but seriously, but that's what I knew I needed. Like I couldn't, the world I live in is not a simple world. It comes with a lot of benefits, like traveling around the world and, a decent amount of money, but it also comes with
It
some
comes with some challenges.
challenges. Yeah.
Boys, it's challenging sometimes with you.
Yeah. I know I'm a challenge. And then also people's reaction to me can be a challenge. Right. And I just knew, and just speaking on stereotypes, honestly, when I was younger, I remember thinking, I don't want to marry an AKA. I want to marry a woman who's built like a Delta.
Oh my
Because the
lord.
Delta, I feel like I know, no disrespect to any AKs in the room. My sister's an AK, but the AKs I knew in college, they were just so flimsy. A lot of them,
Were they?
yeah, they came off to me like the types who would like dump you if you lost your job.
Oh my goodness. See, that's a stereotype. That's not true.
Or if you were really popular and you lose your popularity, they would break up with you.
Don't talk
They don't
about
look
Kim
bad.
like that.
I know
I'm
that
thinking
is so
about my
true.
friend
It's
Kim.
not every AKA.
Don't talk about her.
Oh, Dog Blues mentioned Bell Hooks, Ain't I a Woman? Yeah, Bell Hooks.
I love that.
R.I.P. to Bell Hooks.
Yes.
You know that my cousin called me and told me that she found out Bell Hooks was her aunt.
Wow. I wonder what she's really like. She's got a whole museum. Did you know that?
Does she? Where?
Where's she from? She's from Kentucky. She has
Kentucky.
got a museum in Kentucky.
Wow.
Or some house or something that's a museum.
Well, shout out to
She
Bell.
has a foundation.
Shout out to Bell Hooks.
Bell Hooks was very brave. She talked about her family dynamics. Her writings were superb, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
We gotta look it up.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, all right, guys. Anyway. Well, you know what? I think we've kind of drilled into this topic pretty deeply. Just so you know, I know I believe in freedom of speech and freedom of thought, and Alicia does too. So if you disagree with some things that we said today, that's okay. We encourage disagreement. We encourage debate. You know, and I hope that you're okay with us saying things that maybe challenge your thinking as well. I think that's how we make each other better and stronger and everything else. So if you could, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, if you'd like a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can go to boyceandalicia.com. And in addition to that, don't forget that next week on the 22nd, Alicia's hosting a speed dating event in Atlanta at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you'd like to come and hang out and meet some interesting people, just go to boyceandalicia.com. You can register there as well. So thank you guys, and please have a great day. It was wonderful talking to you, and look forward to another Pillow Talk.
Okay. Bye, everybody.